वेलकम टू आवर चैनल सिंपली नोट्स। आज का टॉपिक है स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट थॉट, अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक फॉर BBA and MBA स्टूडेंट्स एंड ऑल्सो इफ़ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर UGC नेट सेट इन मैनेजमेंट और लेबर वेलफेयर एंड ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट, तो भी ये टॉपिक बहुत ज़रूरी है क्योंकि इसमें से काफ़ी क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं एग्जाम्स में. And even if you're not a management student, you are running a business or you're associated with an organization in any way, say if you're a manager of a company, then also it is important to have knowledge about these principles and practices that have been evolved over a period of time with a combination of experiences and experiments. तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं. पर्पस क्या है स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट थॉट स्टडी करने का? द पर्पस इज टू रिकॉग्नाइज एंड अप्रिशिएट हाउ डेवलपमेंट्स इन द फील्ड ऑफ मैनेजमेंट कुड कंट्रीब्यूट टू करंट प्रैक्टिसेस. सो एज अ पोटेंशियल मैनेजर ये स्टडी करना बहुत ज़रूरी है सो दैट आप अपनी करंट मैनेजरियल प्रैक्टिसेस की स्ट्रेंथ्स एंड वीकनेसेस रिकॉग्नाइज कर पाएँ और अपने बिजनेस या ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए अप्रोप्रिएट मैनेजमेंट स्टाइल्स चूज़ कर पाएँ. स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट है क्या? ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम डिफरेंट स्कॉलर्स या डिफरेंट प्रैक्टिशनर्स जो थे उन्होंने अपनी समझ के हिसाब से अपने तरीके से मैनेजमेंट को स्टडी किया और उनके जो थॉट्स हैं, उनके जो व्यूज़ हैं मैनेजमेंट के रिगार्डिंग, वही हम स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट थॉट्स में स्टडी करते हैं. Now, based on the writings of various scholars, management thought can be classified in different ways. There is one classification given by Kuhns. According to him, management thought को हम 6 schools में divide कर सकते हैं. Management process school, the empirical school, the human behavior school, the social system school, the decision theory school, and the mathematical school. Then there is another classification given by Hitt. He divided the management theories into 3 broad groups: the classical management theory, neoclassical management theory, and modern management theory. Under each group, a few schools of thought are identified. These 3 groups of schools of management thought are currently more popular and acceptable and found adequate for the purpose. So let's study these one by one. I'll be giving a brief description of these approaches. Let's start with the classical school of management. क्लासिकल स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट को हम ट्रेडिशनल स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट भी कहते हैं. इसमें 3 थ्योरीज आती हैं या हम कह सकते हैं 3 स्कूल्स आते हैं. सबसे पहले है साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट स्कूल गिवन बाय FW टेलर. देन इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट propounded बाय हेनरी फ्योल. एंड द थर्ड वन इज द ब्यूरोक्रेसी थ्योरी स्कूल developed by Max Weber. I'll be giving a brief description about these theories, अदरवाइज ये वीडियो काफ़ी लंबी हो जाएगी. मैंने सेपरेट वीडियोस अपलोड किए हैं साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट पर भी, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव मैनेजमेंट पर भी और ब्यूरोक्रेसी पर भी, और उनका लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में शेयर किया है, तो आप ये वीडियोस अलग से डिटेल में स्टडी कर सकते हैं. तो स्टार्ट करते हैं साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट स्कूल से. एज ऑलरेडी टोल्ड, इट वॉज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड बाय FW टेलर एंड ही इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द फादर ऑफ साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट. हेनरी गैंट, फ्रैंक एंड लिलियन गिलब्रेथ and Harrington Emerson, these are the names of some major supporters of FW Taylor's scientific management theory, और इन्होंने भी scientific management में अपना contribution दिया है. टेलर का जो contribution है उसे हम 2 पार्ट्स में स्टडी कर सकते हैं: एलिमेंट्स एंड टूल्स ऑफ साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट एंड प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट. टेलर ने कुछ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कंडक्ट किए अपने वर्क प्लेस पर ये जानने के लिए कि कैसे ह्यूमन बींग्स को और एफिशिएंट बनाया जा सकता है बेटर मेथड्स यूज़ करके और वर्क स्टैंडर्ड्स सेट करके, और उनके बेसिस पर उन्होंने कुछ टूल्स एंड प्रिंसिपल्स दिए हैं जो कि मैंने सेपरेट वीडियो में काफ़ी डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन किए हैं, तो आप वो वीडियो ज़रूर देखिएगा. टेलर के आइडियाज़ को अगर हम 4 बेसिक पॉइंट्स में स्टडी करें तो सबसे पहला पॉइंट यहाँ है कि each person's job should be broken down into elements and a scientific way to perform each element should be determined. So टेलर के अकॉर्डिंगली हर एक जॉब को स्मॉलर स्पेशलाइज्ड टास्क में डिवाइड करना चाहिए और हर टास्क को लॉजिकली एंड साइंटिफिकली सॉल्व करना चाहिए, ना कि बाय गेसिंग और एस्टिमेटिंग और बाय यूजिंग ट्रायल एंड एरर मेथड. Another point as stated by Taylor is that the workers should be scientifically selected and trained to do the work in the designed and trained manner. So बिना ability के, बिना training के कोई भी अपनी job properly और effectively नहीं कर सकता. अगर किसी में वो caliber ही नहीं है या ability ही नहीं है कि वो एक particular task या job कर पाए, तो हम उससे नहीं expect कर सकते कि वो job properly या effectively कर पाएगा. तो वर्कर्स को उनकी एबिलिटी, उनकी एजुकेशन, उनके एक्सपीरियंस, एप्टीट्यूड और उनके फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ के बेसिस पर सेलेक्ट करना चाहिए और उन्हें ऐसा काम देना चाहिए जिसके लिए वो फिजिकली एंड मेंटली मोस्ट सुटेबल हो. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम सिलेक्शन, प्रॉपर एम्फेसिस शुड बी गिवन ऑन द ट्रेनिंग ऑफ वर्कर्स, जिससे वो अपना काम और इफेक्टिवली और एफिशिएंटली कर पाए. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज देयर शुड बी गुड cooperation between management and workers so that the tasks are performed in the designed manner. Management और workers के बीच में cooperation होना चाहिए. Management should not always pressurize workers or argue over profits, and workers should also not waste the resources of the organization and be sincere and loyal to the organization. And they both should work towards common goals, that is maximizing the production. Next point is there should be division of labor between managers and workers. Managers should take over the work of supervising and the workers should be free to perform the work. There should be division of labor. Planning should be separated from doing. Manager का काम होना चाहिए plan करना और workers का काम होना चाहिए execute करना and task perform करना by using methods, instruments decided by the manager. Taylor also pioneered method called time study, now known as time and motion study. According to Taylor, there is always one best way of doing the things which requires least movement and consequently less time and cost. And that should be determined by time, motion, fatigue studies. These were the few ideas behind scientific management theory. The scientific management theory has few benefits as well as it was criticized on various grounds. अगर बेनिफिट्स की बात करें तो जैसे कि हम जानते हैं साइंटिफिक मैनेजमेंट के अकॉर्डिंगली जो वर्कर्स हैं या एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं उनको उनकी एजुकेशन एक्सपीरियंस उनकी एबिलिटीज़ के बेसिस पर सेलेक्ट करना चाहिए और उनकी ट्रेनिंग भी होनी चाहिए रेगुलर बेसिस पर. तो इससे बेटर वर्क फोर्स क्रिएट होती है, एक इफेक्टिव और एफिशिएंट वर्क फोर्स क्रिएट होती है. Another benefit is better utilization of scarce resources. So, scientific management techniques ensure optimum utilization of available resources like materials, machines, equipment, money, and workers, etc. It removes the wastage and inefficiency of every kind. Third point is harmonious labor management relationship. Scientific management encouraged harmonious and cordial relationship between management and laborers ताकि industrial dispute कम हो और industrial peace maintain हो पाए. Taylor also introduced the concept of mental revolution, which means changing the mental attitude of workers and management towards each other ताकि दोनों parties के बीच में mutual trust और understanding develop हो पाए. Fourth point is incentives to the workers for higher production. As he introduced the concept of differential piece rate system, which was highly motivating. इसमें वर्कर्स कितनी देर तक काम कर रहे हैं उसके बेसिस पर वेजेस नहीं मिलते, बल्कि कितना काम कर रहे हैं उसके बेसिस पर वेजेस दिए जाते हैं. सो वर्कर्स की परफॉर्मेंस के बेसिस पर उन्हें इंसेंटिव्स दिए जाते थे सो दैट दे शुड ऑलवेज फील मोटिवेटेड टू परफॉर्म बेटर. Fifth point is continuous improvement of the workers. As Taylor suggested that the workers should be given training on regular basis so that their skills can be improved on continuous basis. So ये थे benefits या contributions of scientific management. अब बात करते हैं criticism की. According to Taylor, man's only need is money और workers को monetary incentives के through motivate किया जा सकता है, encourage किया जा सकता है to perform better. But this is not true. There are other needs also like social needs, safety needs, etc. which were completely ignored by Taylor and his supporters. Next point is the concept of functional foremanship is not feasible in practice as it violates the principle of unity of command. Functional foremanship के accordingly a single worker should receive orders or instructions from 8 supervisors. Now this can be sometimes confusing और इससे conflicts arise हो सकते हैं and also this is against unity of command which says a person should get orders from a single supervisor only. Another limitation is that Taylorism is confined mostly to production management. Scientific management सिर्फ shop floor level पर operational efficiency increase करने पर ही focus करता है. बाकी के जो areas हैं like finance, marketing, accounting and personnel department उनको ये completely ignore करता है. So this is also one of the major limitation. So these are the few limitations of scientific management theory. अब हम बात करते हैं एक और classical school of management की which is management process school and Henry Fayol is the first proponent of this school. जैसे कि हमने पढ़ा है कि F.W. Taylor had an aggressive mechanical view and he sidelined the human relations. उनका जो वर्क था, फाइंडिंग्स थी, वो रिफ्लेक्ट करती थी इंजीनियरिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू रादर देन मैनेजमेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, एंड दैट इज़ वाई हिज वर्क वॉज अपोज्ड बाय ट्रेड यूनियंस, इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट्स एंड जनरल पब्लिक ऑल्सो. वहीं Henry Fayol looked at the problem of managing an organization from top management point of view, and also he used the term administration instead of management. That is why his ideas of management were given the name administrative management theory, which later evolved into management process school. This school regards management as a process of getting things done with people operating in organized groups within the organization. His focus was on managerial level and organization as whole. और अपने प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस के बेसिस पर हेनरी फ्योल ने कुछ प्रिंसिपल्स दिए हैं मैनेजमेंट के, जिन्हें हम 14 प्रिंसिपल्स कहते हैं या जनरल प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ मैनेजमेंट कहते हैं, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ दीज आर वैलिड टिल डेट. Another point is that the proponent of the management process school believed that management is a dynamic process, और जितने भी functions होते हैं management के, जैसे कि planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling, all these functions are required at all levels of management and in all types of organizations. Next point is the contribution of Fayol have made the real beginning of development of management as a separate field of study. He is the first man to develop a comprehensive theory of management capable of universal application. He is therefore considered as the real founder of modern management. Like other classical theories, management process school has also been criticized on various grounds. Some critics argue that administrative management is one-sided approach that stresses only on administrative problems. He has analyzed management mainly from the viewpoint of top-level managers and ignored the role and significance of lower-level managers of the organization. The third important classical school of management is bureaucracy theory school. Max Weber is known as the father of bureaucracy. Weber believed that bureaucracy is the most efficient way to set up and manage a large-scale organization. A single person cannot perform all the functions of management. So authority to control the people with heterogeneous background should be given in the hands of most competent and qualified people. Now let's study features or characteristics of bureaucratic organization. सबसे पहला feature है administrative class. Bureaucratic organization have the body of officials and administrators responsible for coordinating various activities of members within the organization. और ये जो officials होते हैं इनको फिक्स्ड सैलरीज दी जाती हैं जो कि डिपेंड करती है उनकी पोजीशन के ऊपर कि वो किस पोजीशन पर है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में. सेकेंड इज हायरार्की. सो ब्यूरोक्रेटिक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में बहुत सारी हायरार्किकल पोजीशंस होती हैं एंड अथॉरिटीज़ एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ आर क्लियरली डिफाइंड फॉर ईच पोजीशन. और हर लोअर लेवल जो है ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल स्ट्रक्चर का, दैट इज अंडर द कंट्रोल एंड सुपरविजन ऑफ हायर लेवल. थर्ड फीचर इज डिविजन ऑफ वर्क. In Weber's ideal organization, the work or tasks are divided into categories based on team members' competence and areas of expertise. हर एक एम्प्लॉय को उनकी एबिलिटीज़, उनकी कैपेबिलिटीज़ के अकॉर्डिंगली काम दिया जाता है. वही टास्क दी जाती हैं जिसे करने में वो एक्सपर्ट है या स्पेशलाइज्ड है. सो डिवाइडिंग द वर्क बेस्ड ऑन देयर स्पेशलाइजेशन नॉट ओनली इम्प्रूव्स द वर्क एफिशिएंसी बट ऑल्सो इंश्योर्स प्रॉपर एलोकेशन ऑफ जॉब रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़. Next feature is official rules. So there are set of rules covering the rights and duties of employees so that employees know exactly what is expected of them. By enforcing strict rules, the organization can more easily achieve uniformity and employees' efforts can be better coordinated. Fifth point is impersonal relationships. So जो relationships है bureaucratic organization में वो सिर्फ प्रोफेशनल रिलेशनशिप्स होते हैं. किसी भी तरह के इमोशंस या सेंटिमेंट्स का इन्वॉल्वमेंट उसमें नहीं होता है. दिस इम्पर्सनल रिलेशन प्रमोट्स डिसीजन मेकिंग दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन फैक्ट्स एंड रैशनल थिंकिंग. इट प्रिवेंट्स फेवरेटिज्म एंड नेपोटिज्म एज वेल एज इन्वॉल्वमेंट फ्रॉम आउटसाइडर्स और पॉलिटिकल इन्फ्लुएंस. Sixth point is official record. Bureaucratic organization is characterized by maintenance of proper official records for further reference. These are the important characteristics of Weber's bureaucratic organization. But इसके कुछ limitations भी हैं. बहुत सारे स्कॉलर्स एंड ऑथर्स ये बिलीव करते हैं कि जो कंडीशंस है ब्यूरोक्रेटिक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की वो प्रैक्टिकली एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, एंड इवन इफ फाउंड इन प्रैक्टिस दे मे रिजल्ट इनटू इनएफिशिएंसी एंड दिस कैन बी ड्यू टू द रिजिड ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल हायरार्की. Another limitation is that behavioral scientists believe bureaucratic organization to be inhuman, जहाँ humans को और उनकी feelings को या emotions को importance नहीं दी जाती. They are given no opportunity to voice their opinion or influence decision making. So bureaucracy may demotivate employees in the long run. एक और disadvantage bureaucratic system का ये है कि ये organization को closed system की तरह treat करती है, which is self-contained and self-maintaining. Such organization can work well in highly static and predictable environment, but the nature of environment is highly dynamic and heterogeneous. अगर एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट में कोई चेंज आता है तो वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के इंटरनल एनवायरनमेंट को भी अफेक्ट करता है. Thus, an open system perspective is more suitable for the management of modern day organizations, while bureaucratic organizations have closed system perspectives. So these were the three main theories or schools under Classical School of Management. Classical School of Management believed that there should be high specialization of labor, centralized decision making, and profit maximization. It led to the application of science to the practice of management, developed basic management functions and principles. But classical approach suffers from several limitations. These theories make unrealistic assumptions. For example, the closed system assumption, which views organization as a closed system with no interaction with the outside world, जबकि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक ओपन सिस्टम है वेयर इट हैज़ टू इंटरैक्ट विद द एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट ऑल्सो. और ये जो एक्सटर्नल फोर्सेस हैं या फैक्टर्स हैं जैसे कि पॉलिटिकल फैक्टर्स, इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर्स, टेक्नोलॉजिकल फैक्टर्स, लीगल फैक्टर्स, ये सब बिजनेस ऑपरेशंस को और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को एज अ होल अफेक्ट करती है. सो ऑल दीज फैक्टर्स हैव बिन इग्नोर्ड बाय क्लासिकल थियोरिस्ट्स. एक और लिमिटेशन ये है कि क्लासिकल थिंकर्स के अकॉर्डिंगली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो है वो स्टैटिक होती है, नेचर में रिजिड होती है, इनफ्लेक्सिबल होती है. बट ये भी सही नहीं है. जैसे एनवायरनमेंट में चेंजेस आते हैं उसके अकॉर्डिंगली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन रिस्पॉन्ड करती है, चाहे वो गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज़ हो या टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस हो. फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन फ्लॉपीज वर रिप्लेस्ड बाय सीडीज या टीवी चैनल्स नाउ हैव लार्जर व्यूअरशिप एज अगेंस्ट रेडियो. सो अगर न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी आती है वो बिजनेस ऑपरेशंस को भी अफेक्ट करती है. मान लो अगर गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉयमेंट लॉज में चेंजेस लाती है तो मैनेजर्स को भी वो चेंजेस अडॉप्ट करने होते हैं. अगर गवर्नमेंट वर्किंग आवर्स से रिलेटेड कोई अमेंडमेंट्स करती है तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को भी वो चेंजेस इनकॉर्पोरेट करने होते हैं. इसलिए ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को फ्लेक्सिबल होना चाहिए, ना कि स्टैटिक. Another unrealistic assumption of classical theorists is about human behavior. Classical thinkers treated human beings as machines who perform tasks assigned to them, and they ignored social, psychological, and motivational aspect of human behavior. Classical thinkers also believe that economic rewards are main motivators. उनके accordingly workers economic reward से ही motivate होते हैं. That is not true. Money is one of the important factor, but it is not the only factor for workers motivation. कुछ non-financial motivators भी होते हैं जैसे कि promotions, better status, recognition of work और job security etc. So all these non-financial factors of motivation were ignored by classical thinkers. There are certain principles formulated by classical theorists that were also criticized. The main criticism of classical principles are as follows. Its various concepts and principles were developed based on personal experience and limited observation. So, practicably कुछ principles applicable नहीं होते. Then there is lack of universality of principles. Classical theorists have claimed that these principles have universal application. That is, these can be applied in different organizations at different levels, whereas the empirical researchers believed that management is entirely situational and there is nothing like universal principles of management. Another limitation is that there is little scope of integration, as the goals are set at the top without consulting the subordinates who are actually the real executors, so decision making is highly centralized. These were the few limitations of classical theories, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि ये theories useful नहीं है. These theories are still important because they provided ideas which were further developed by the subsequent management schools of thought. But yes, there are certain aspects of management that were ignored by the classical thinkers, and other schools of management focused on these dimensions of organization and management. And one such school is neoclassical school of management that we are going to study next. नियोक्लासिकल स्कूल की जो अप्रोचेस हैं वो क्लासिकल स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट के कॉन्सेप्ट्स को कम्प्लीटली रिजेक्ट नहीं करती, बल्कि उनको रिफाइन और इम्प्रूव करती है. क्लासिकल थिंकर्स का जो फोकस था वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के फिजियोलॉजिकल एस्पेक्ट पर या मैकेनिकल वेरिएबल्स पर था, लेकिन न्यू क्लासिकल स्कूल का फोकस था ह्यूमन फैक्टर्स पर. जो इंडिविजुअल्स हैं या ह्यूमंस हैं जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर काम कर रहे हैं, उनके बिहेवियर्स और एटीट्यूड पर. And that is why this school is also known as behavior-based school of management. Now, this neoclassical school can be divided into two phases. First is human relation school, second one is behavioral science school. Behavioral science school is an improved and more mature version of the human relation approach. सबसे पहले बात करते हैं human relation school की. The real inspiration for the movement came from the Hawthorne experiments conducted by Professor Elton Mayo. For more details, refer to the link in the description box. इन एक्सपेरिमेंट से ये पता चला कि काम करने की मोटिवेशन, मोरल एंड प्रोडक्टिविटी सिर्फ फिजिकल कंडीशंस या वर्किंग कंडीशंस पर ही डिपेंड नहीं करती, बट इट ऑल्सो डिपेंड्स ऑन सोशल रिलेशनशिप्स अमंग वर्कर्स एंड बिटवीन वर्कर्स एंड द सुपरवाइजर. These studies also revealed that an organization is more than a formal structure of positions. Organization सिर्फ एक formal structure नहीं है with hierarchy of positions, having authorities and responsibilities, but एक social system भी है जहाँ informal relationships भी exist करते हैं. अब human relation school की भी अपनी limitations हैं. ऐसा बोला जाता है कि it is as much incomplete as the scientific management, as scientific management gave importance to tasks and structure and ignored the human variable. This approach gave importance only to human relations and ignored other variables like the attitude of people, role of trade union, economic and technological aspects. Second limitation is that this approach makes an unrealistic demand on the superior. Human relation approach के accordingly there should be power equalization. मतलब superior और subordinate के बीच में जो power and status difference है वो इस approach के through कम करने की बात की गई है. But a desire for power is one of the main reasons why people want to become managers. Another limitation is that this approach provides an unrealistic picture about informal groups by describing them as a major source of satisfaction for industrial workers. बहुत सारे researchers के accordingly workers factory में affection या affiliation या informal groups form करने के लिए ही नहीं आते. Informal groups are important to release tension, overcome boredom and frustration, so it can make workers' day pleasant but not his tasks. अगर workers की tasks या job repetitive होगी, monotonous होगी, uncreative होगी, तो that is going to affect the productivity also. So this was human relation approach. Next approach is behavioral approach. As told earlier, it is further refinement of human relation movement, and these are the few names of some behavioral scientists. Now, this approach laid emphasis on human behavior as it relates to the goal achievement and efficiency improvement. It draws its principles from various disciplines like psychology, sociology, anthropology, etc. Various ideas concerning this school are, firstly, it viewed organization as a socio-technical system. Where classical theorists viewed organization as a technical and mechanical system, the proponents of behavioral school viewed organization as a socio-technical system where there is interrelatedness between social and technical aspects of an organization or the society as whole. जहाँ एक तरफ बिहेवियरल अप्रोच फोकस करती है इंडिविजुअल्स और उनके इंटरपर्सनल एंड सोशल रिलेशनशिप्स को, वहीं दूसरी तरफ ये एडवोकेट करती है टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट्स लाइक techniques, methods and procedures which are used for performing jobs. Behavioral approach also recognizes individual differences in terms of their personality, goals, beliefs, values and perception. Third point is that the individual needs may differ from organization needs, and this may result in conflicts between the goals of organization and people working within the organization. Behavioral approach suggests reconciliation of these goals for effectiveness and efficiency of the organization. So, human relations school emphasized on individuals and their interpersonal relationships. Human behavioral school emphasized on human behavior. They focused on study of motivation, leadership, group dynamics, participative management, etc. So these were the two main theories under neoclassical school of management. Let's talk about implications of neoclassical school of management as a whole. Firstly, it offers more humanistic view towards people at work and treats human beings as valuable assets. Secondly, ह्यूमन फैक्टर को हैंडल करने के लिए स्पेशल स्किल्स, नॉलेज एंड एक्सपर्टाइज चाहिए. Therefore, it advocates scientific study of individual and group behavior. Thirdly, it emphasized on proper work climate or work environment that is maintained by creating proper organization structure, communication, leadership, reward system, interpersonal relationships, etc. Another point is organization is not merely a formal structure of functions, relations and activities. It is affected by social factors also. So organization in general एक social system है consisting of numerous interacting parts और human factor सबसे important factor है उस social system का. Fifth point is that the behavior of humans can be generated, studied, modified and it can be controlled. Now, like classical school of management, neoclassical school has also been criticized on various grounds. Firstly, there are certain assumptions of neoclassical schools that are not true. For example, ये assumption कि हर problem का एक solution है जो सबको satisfy करेगा, that is not true. Often there are conflicts of interests among various groups in the organization. Secondly, more emphasis is on human aspect. तो सारा emphasis human aspect पर ही है, but human factor के अलावा भी factors हैं जैसे formal structure, discipline, etc. Thirdly, this school focuses on the organization and how it interacts with the people in it. It doesn't consider the surrounding environment, which have important bearing on the effectiveness of an organization. Fourthly, it lacks unified approach. It assumes there is one approach to run the organization that will work consistently in any environment, but that's not true, as a single approach cannot be applicable to all situations. Moreover, neoclassical theory is simply modification of the classical theory rather than organizational transformation. So this theory has almost same limitations as classical theory. So this was the neoclassical school of management. अब बात करते हैं modern management theories या school की. Modern school of management represent करता है जो भी latest developments हुई है management में after 1950. Modern management theories के accordingly organizations बहुत complex हैं and people working in these organizations have diverse background with different needs, motives and potentials. और ये नीड्स, ये मोटिव्स वेरी करते हैं फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम, फ्रॉम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. तो एक सिंगल मैनेजमेंट स्ट्रैटेजी कैन नॉट बी अप्लाइड ऑल द टाइम. Managers should use different strategies at different times for different person. And some analytical tools may be used while applying these strategies. मॉडर्न मैनेजमेंट अप्रोच को हम 3 phases में स्टडी कर सकते हैं: मैनेजमेंट साइंस स्कूल, द सिस्टम थ्योरी एंड द कंटीजेंसी थ्योरी. Let's start with management science school, or it is also known as quantitative approach. Management science proposes the use of scientific methods or quantitative techniques to aid decision making. जो मैनेजमेंट साइंटिस्ट्स थे, जो कि मेनली ऑपरेशन रिसर्चर्स थे और सिस्टम एनालिस्ट्स थे, उनके अकॉर्डिंगली मैनेजमेंट एक लॉजिकल एंड रैशनल प्रोसेस है जिसको हम मैथमेटिकल रिलेशनशिप्स एंड मॉडल्स के फॉर्म में एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं. सो दे एडवोकेटेड द यूज ऑफ मैथमेटिकल एंड स्टैटिस्टिकल टूल्स लाइक लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग, क्यूइंग theory, simulation models, PERT and CPM, inventory control and quality control tools. मैनेजमेंट साइंस इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड ऑपरेशन रिसर्च. तो जो भी टूल्स एंड मेथड्स हम ऑपरेशन रिसर्च में यूज़ करते हैं वो सब स्कूल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट में भी यूज़ होते हैं फॉर डिसीजन मेकिंग इन द एरियाज ऑफ मशीन लोडिंग, रिसोर्स एलोकेशन और warehouse operations, etc. Now, this approach has limited application, that too only in respect of problem solving and decision making. तो मैनेजमेंट का जो प्लानिंग एंड कंट्रोलिंग का फंक्शन है उसमें तो हम प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं और उनको क्वांटिफाई भी कर सकते हैं, बट मैनेजमेंट के जो बाकी के फंक्शंस हैं लाइक ऑर्गेनाइजिंग, स्टाफिंग एंड लीडिंग, वेयर द प्रॉब्लम्स आर मोर ह्यूमन देन टेक्निकल इन नेचर, वहाँ ये टूल्स इतने कॉमन नहीं हैं. This is the major drawback of this approach. Second approach or theory under modern management school is system approach, which appeared around 1960 and soon acquired a dominant position in the management, and these are the names of some early contributors of system approach. So इन्होंने organization को एक organic and open system की तरह देखा, which consists of various interconnected and interdependent sub parts or subsystems. यहाँ organic system का मतलब है कि the organization should act as a living system. It should be stable, that is, its various parts should be in balance with each other for its survival, and it should grow and mature like any other living entity, and it should adapt to the environment changes. And the organization should work as an open system where it has to interact with other systems like markets, suppliers, bankers, trade unions, government, education and research institutes, and other similar enterprises, industries, economy, etc. All these factors constitute its environment. अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक सिस्टम है तो उसके सब सिस्टम्स भी है, लाइक प्रोडक्शन सब सिस्टम, मेंटेनेंस सब सिस्टम एंड मार्केटिंग सब सिस्टम, एंड ऑल दीज सब सिस्टम्स इंटरैक्ट विद ईच अदर बाय गेटिंग इन्फ्लुएंस्ड and influencing other. This approach is said to be holistic in nature, assuming that whole system is greater than the sum of its parts. इसे हम synergy effect भी कहते हैं, which is expressed as 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. It means that the effect of the output of a system is always more than the combined output of its parts. Another point is that these systems are of such a complex character that a change in one subsystem affects the other subsystems. Now since these systems are interconnected, तो अगर एक सिस्टम में चेंज आता है तो उसका अफेक्ट बाकी के सिस्टम्स पर भी होता है. Next point is all systems must receive inputs to survive, and these inputs must be processed into outputs at such a rate that they maintain the viability of system. Every system has flow of information, material and energy, and these are called inputs. और ये inputs convert होती है output में as goods, services and satisfaction in the organization. This process is called throughput. This is also an important characteristic of system approach, where it must receive inputs and these inputs must be converted into outputs. Now, like other approaches, this approach also has few limitations. Firstly, it is an abstract theory. Many scholars believe that this is only theoretical concept और इसकी कोई practical implications नहीं है. इस approach के accordingly जो various parts है organization के वो interrelated हैं, और अगर एक पार्ट में चेंज आता है तो वो बाकी पार्ट्स को भी अफेक्ट करता है. बट कैसे अफेक्ट करता है, दैट हैज़ नॉट बीन एक्सप्लेन्ड. सेकेंडली, देयर इज लैक ऑफ यूनिवर्सल एप्लीकेबिलिटी. इट इज़ नॉट universally applicable. It is relevant to large organization, but the modern structural designs and communication systems are not applicable to smaller organizations. Now coming on to the next school called the contingency theory school. This is the second approach. First one being the system approach that attempts to integrate the various schools of management thought. According to this approach, there is no one best way of doing things under all conditions. तो कोई एक management action या design नहीं है जो सभी situations में applicable हो. सिचुएशंस डिफरेंट होंगी तो रिजल्ट्स भी डिफरेंट होंगे. ये मैनेजर का काम है कि वो आइडेंटिफाई करे कि कौन से सिचुएशन में कौन सी टेक्निक बेस्ट रहेगी. Contingency approach is most applicable in the activities of motivating, leading and structuring the organization. The organization must be designed in such a way that it should fit according to the environment in which it operates and the technology it uses. So the organization should have a flexible structure that can change according to the changing environment. The other potential areas include employee development and training, decisions of decentralization, establishment of communication and control systems, and planning information decision systems. So these were the theories under modern school of management. Now let's do an appraisal of modern school of management. Firstly, the theory has an empirical and analytical base and looks at organization in system perspective. A system which is dynamic in nature that changes with the change in its environment, both external and internal. Secondly, it seeks interrelationships and interconnections amongst various organization parts, and it takes holistic view of the organization, that is it views organization as a whole. It views organization as an open, organic, and probabilistic system, unlike classical theorists who view organization as a closed, mechanist, and deterministic system. The modern school is probabilistic and not deterministic in nature. A deterministic model is one whose results are predetermined, whereas probabilistic model is one whose results are uncertain and depends on the chance of occurrence. Management principles points out only probability and never the certainty of performance and the consequent results. So this was all about schools of management thought. We have described all the major approaches to management thought in terms of their chronological emergence. If you want detailed notes on this topic, please visit our website Simply Notes. I've shared link of the website in description box also. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you like the video and want to see more such videos, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you for listening.